Namaste. Welcome to Yoga Body. I'm Julie Hill. I work with people to help eliminate pain, to find pure movement, lower compensatory movement patterns, and get back into doing the activities that they love. And today I'm really excited with you to share some kind of information about your feet, about the joints and how they move, and some things that you can do to really impact the stability for your feet, your legs, and up the chain of your body. So we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to start out by rolling out the bottom of our feet. And you can use a tennis ball, which I have here, or an indoor hockey ball, or some kind of like massage release type tool or ball to use on your feet. I think a tennis ball works just fine, so if you have one of those, great. So we're going to go ahead and start by releasing the myofascial tissue on the bottom of the feet and just giving yourself a little bit of a foot massage with it. We'll get into some movement through the ankle and through the joints in the foot while we do that. So we'll start with the ball under my right foot. You can certainly do this standing up. If you'd like to put a little more weight into the ball, just for the ease of the recording, I'm seated. But you can stand up and hold on to a wall, whatever you'd like. But we're just going to roll the arch here. And I'm actually going to move through this rolling piece a little bit faster than I would if I was doing it for my own practice, just for the purposes of recording this video. So after rolling the arch for a bit, you can start to roll from the big toe side down to the heel and then back. So just kind of allowing that side edge of the foot to get a little massage and then underneath the foot. And you can certainly stop the video and stay for a little longer in the spot, eventually making your way to where the heel and the bottom of the arch meet. And then putting a little weight into that. So weighting that and then letting it relax and then putting more weight into it. A little easier to do if you're standing up, but you can certainly do it seated. And then move the ball over towards the inside, just a smidge, and going to put some weight into that and then release and move the ball the other way. Good. And then we'll roll from the pinky toe side down to the heel. And you'll kind of notice as you do that your foot's going to naturally contour or flex around the ball a little bit. So there's a little bit of movement happening in the foot as we do this. So just adding that. Release on the edge, or you can go underneath the bottom of the foot on that side, the pinky toe side, along the outer edge. And then eventually coming to where the ball of the foot and the arch meet. And allowing yourself to really kind of put some weight in there, letting the heel work its way down towards the floor with the tennis ball under that space of your foot. So not necessarily under your toes now, but a little bit lower down. So really helping some of the flexion come in through the ankle joint there. And then release, and you can move the ball back and forth and try that towards the outer edge, where the arch and the ball of the feet come together on the pinky toe side, and then again over on the big toe side of the foot. And then rolling it around through the arch again, side, back and forth, whatever you'd like. And then eventually allowing the ball to come underneath the toes. And we're going to grab the toes around the ball and hold there for a breath. Just take a breath in, and then as you exhale, let the toes kind of flare out. And then really grabbing the toes around the ball again, and then letting the toes flare out. Good, and then come back and just let the right foot kind of relax on the floor and notice whatever's there for you in this moment. Maybe the bottom of that right foot is feeling really energetic because we've kind of woken up some of the nerve endings down there. There's quite a bit that goes on in the bottom of our feet, in the soles, and throughout the areas of our feet into the toes. So maybe you're able to sense a lot of that. And then eventually coming to the other foot. And so you can start out again just rolling the foot. Again, if you want to go ahead and stop the video, you're welcome to do that. And then we'll roll that big toe side of the foot down to the heel and then back up, kind of getting along that outer edge and then underneath the foot. And eventually making our way to where the heel kind of meets right at the bottom of the arch. So allowing the ball to go there and putting a little bit of weight into it and then releasing. And then move the ball over maybe towards the inside and do the same thing. A little bit of weight into it and then release. And then the other side. And then eventually working your way to roll the pinky toe side of the foot. So really we're just kind of coming at this release for the bottom of the foot, really from all angles. And soon you'll have the ball come towards where the top of the arch and the ball of the foot meet here, and just let it sit there, and then we'll work to the outer side and the pinky toe side. So go ahead and do that, putting a little weight in each area. And feel free, if this feels good, if you feel some kind of tighter or tense areas, or maybe just it's a nice release for your foot, feel free to stop the video and stay here a little bit longer. Good, and we'll go ahead and move so we can wrap the toes around the ball of the foot again, around the ball, sorry, and then let it release, and then grab onto the ball with your toes, and then as you exhale, flare the toes out. Nice. And then make sure that you work in some flexion with your ankle on this side. So letting that ball kind of sneak underneath towards the arch a little bit and putting some weight to help some, just a little bit of flexion come into the ankle there. Great. And then we'll go ahead and set that ball aside and put both feet down, and just some easy breaths here just to kind of notice how your feet are feeling, not only the bottoms of your feet, but the tops and the sides, into your ankles, and even notice how it feels coming into your legs. Good, and for this next part, I'll go ahead and scooch up a little bit closer so you can kind of see my foot a little bit better. I am going to use a block to set my other foot on for the purposes of our filming here. You can do whatever's comfortable. So we're going to talk about this right foot for a minute. So just kind of breaking the foot into kind of different areas, right? So we all know we have our ankle, and then we have the forefoot. So really kind of the front part of the foot, and then there's this hind foot here. And in the back of this foot, in the hind foot, there's our heel that comes down. So it's kind of a bony, it's a bone that comes back. It has a subtalar joint there, and it just kind of sticks back, and it's actually, you can move that back and forth. So it's meant to move, although when it's in our shoe, our feet are often held in a particular position. And then over time, it doesn't really allow the foot to naturally flex and contour to absorb the landscape that would be around us in our environment. And those types of changes keep the range of the motion in the foot joints kind of supple so that they continue to have that range of motion. So we're going to manually kind of move the foot through that so it can kind of sense that and see what's available to us right now. And if it does feel a little bit kind of limited or even a little stiff, over time that will loosen up between rolling and moving the joints manually with your hands. So we're going to start by taking our left hand and cupping it around the bottom of the right heel. We'll take the right hand and hold on to the forefoot or your front of your foot. And we're just going to move the heel bone kind of back and forth. And so I'll pick up my foot so you maybe have a better look, but we're just going to move this part that's in your palm back and forth a little bit. And if you're familiar with this, we'd really be moving this heel into inversion and eversion as we move the heel. So as we move the heel kind of towards the inside, or it'll come up towards us, that would be inversion. And as we move the heel slightly away, so it'd be pointing to the outside, you might get a little wrinkly through here, that would be eversion. So just seeing what range of motion has. And notice as you do this, maybe the whole foot wants to move. So we can use this top hand to just kind of hold the forefoot a little bit steady. There's going to be a little movement that comes through, but try and hold it steady and just move through the heel there. And you might feel that you can even kind of get a sense of when you move it into one or the other, it goes through the leg a little bit. So just kind of notice what's available and how they're tied together. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and switch it up. So we're going to start by grabbing onto the forefoot, and we have this part of the foot that comes down from the big toe, and you can feel that bone there. And then if you kind of feel on the outside, that outside pinky toe edge, there's a kind of a bony landmark that sticks out about probably about halfway down, and you can kind of feel that. So go ahead and grab onto that with your right hand, and then just move the whole forefoot. So we're kind of allowing it to come into a little bit of a rotation, and I still have my hand on the heel, so I'm holding that part of the foot still and allowing this rotation to come in. So we're moving in and out of pronation and supination with the forefoot here. When we come down with the big toe side, that part of your coming towards the floor, that would be more pronated. When we come out, letting it curl up, that would be a little more supinated. And again, notice I'm not moving the whole foot, so the movement's not necessarily in the ankle here. It's really in this forefoot joint. Good. So let's go ahead and just slide your fingers. You can take your left hand fingers and kind of feed them through your toes and roll that part of the foot around. Kind of moving more into the front of the foot then, letting the toes kind of spread out. If you can't get all your fingers in between your toes, no worries, just do what you can. Good. And then we'll wiggle the toes and set the foot down. Coming back into that place of just kind of noticing how that feels. How is that foot now compared to the other one? And we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. So I'm just using this block here so I can keep my foot high enough for you to see. But again, I'm going to start by taking my left hand on the left foot, on the forefoot, and holding it steady and taking this right palm and letting it come around the back of the heel. So I make a pretty good connection there with the palm and the heel. And then I just kind of move it from side to side. You can think of it that way. There's a little bit of a side and a kind of angle there as you come into inversion. So that would be drawing the heel a little towards you. It's kind of like what the foot would come into if you were going to roll over your ankle. And then moving that heel out would come into eversion. And you might have noticed that from your right foot to your left foot, you might have a big difference in how much that heel is actually able to move. So then again, we can start to notice how the body takes full force or load in and load out, or launching and loading in our gait from one side of the body to the other, depending on what side you're dominant. So moving that around a little bit and just kind of noticing how that moves. And you can maybe see that movement come into the leg. I don't see it so much on this side as I did on the other side in myself. And then we'll go ahead and switch and move up to the top of the foot, so the forefoot here. So I'm still going to hold the bottom heel in place. And this time I'm looking for that bony landmark on the outside of the foot. Just kind of feel it there. And I'll grab onto those two parts and just let it kind of move around. So it's a little bit of a kind of a twisting motion. I'm going to switch my hands, so maybe that gives you a better angle for the camera. But whatever is really kind of most comfortable for you. You could even grab from the front of the foot there and hold it steady there. And just let it kind of move. Maybe it doesn't want to move very much. And notice if you're just kind of sliding the skin, we really want the bones in the foot to move a little bit here. Good. And then from there you can slide the fingers in between the toes, spreading your toes pretty far. Maybe you can't get them all in, and that's okay. And then just roll the foot around a little bit. So some things to think about. Taking off your shoes and wiggling your toes. Letting yourself give that myofascia and the tissue on the bottom of your feet a little bit of release. And then the movement in the joints of the foot themselves. Because we wear shoes and we often find ourselves walking on flat surfaces or smoother surfaces like sidewalks and pathways and parking lots, what have you, the foot doesn't naturally kind of change with the landscape and feel those movements itself. And if we can allow the feet to kind of come into that place where they absorb those different angles and contour to the landscape, it allows us to be a little more stable in our body. So continue to use this practice if your feet are feeling a little stiff. If you're pretty athletic and you've just gone out for a run or gotten back from a bike ride, or even in the winter with skiing and your feet have been in those ski boots for a long time, it's great to allow those joints to kind of find a little bit of freedom. If you want more information, please come see me at yogabodylllc.com. Again, my name is Julie. Love to hear feedback from you and answer any questions. Here's to a happier and healthier you. Namaste.